Hello, and welcome to the Finny Games. It's your host, BBG, aka BrokeBlackGamer. What's good, my BGs? Do y'all remember Jeffrey Epstein? Well, I do. And he had an island, and later he unalived himself. And there was something called the 4080 12 gigabyte. If y'all remember, he unlaunched himself, or unalived himself, on Jensen's Island, due to all of the scrutiny and fear that he received due to being such a pathetic excuse for an 80 class card. Well, there has been some news that the RX 9060 XT 8GB may be unaliving itself or unlaunching itself on Lisa Sue's island. Now, I don't know if this is true. I don't want to spread any rumors, but according to Moore's Law, this may be the case. And the culprit of this is the horrible reaction and the awful press that the 50 trash 68GB Ti has received. Now, I know a lot of us know, I'm preaching to the choir here, that the 50 trash 68GB Ti, and I'm just speaking of the 8GB models, are absolute garbage and have no place in today's market in 2025. Hardware Unboxed, they did several benchmarks with this, or you can check any benchmark videos of the 5060 Ti 8GB, and a lot of us didn't, or myself, wasn't really up to speed with the reviews on this because I know they delayed the release of these cards so people couldn't review them so they could tell them how trashy they were. But this card seems to be a victim of planned obsolescence, as the 8GB would mean that you'd have to upgrade this card very frequently, very soon. And I know some people are saying, oh well, this card is just marketed towards 1080p gaming. It's 2025, and I know a lot of people are still using 1080p monitors, but how old are those? How cheap are those? I remember when I had a PS3, we were trying to chase 1080p, and there were some games on PS3 that achieved 1080p, but this GPU, it has struggled to play native settings on games like The Last of Us 2 in native 1080p. That is sad. And I know some people are like, oh well, it has MFG, but you want to have a high base frame rate to do that, and the 1% lows with this GPU make some experiences unplayable in higher 1080p settings. Don't take my word for it, go look at the benchmarks. So you don't let your friends buy this GPU. However, let your enemies know about this card. Tell them that this card is the 1080 Ti of 2025. Let all your enemies know that this GPU is for them, but only your enemies. Again, everyone's been saying this. Friends, do not let friends buy the 50 trash 68GB Ti or base model graphics card. Nvidia has seemed to be doing gimping the VRAM a lot lately, and I think the 5000 series, it's been a garbage release. I still think that the 5080 only having 16GB is a shame. I think if your flagship or Halo product has 32, they should have at least given 24 to the base 5080. I don't care what comes in the future, I'm talking about now. I think that the 5070 Ti, I think that one with 16GB is fine, honestly. The 5070 12GB, I think that if you give a 5060 Ti model 16GB of VRAM, there should never be a card that's of a higher class that has less gigabytes, less amounts of VRAM than your other card, like your lower tier card. To me, that is sad. And unexcusable, but that's Nvidia for you. Because remember, the more you buy, 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 the more you. So remember that the more you pay, the more you save. But again, a card costing $500 plus or $400 to $800 that I've seen, but that's scalpers, of course. It should not be targeting 1080p. And with the 16GB model, we see that it can be a 1440p or even 4K capable card depending on the settings with the 16GB model. But again, we can't let that happen for those 8GB people. And unfortunately, this is going to sell a lot, and it's not going to sell a lot because it's good. It's going to sell a lot because it's going to be in casual pre-builds everywhere, and Nvidia will be able to manufacture these cards at a cheaper rate. I think AMD, I hope that they decide to unlaunch this 8GB card, because it really is not a card that should be existing in 2025. Again, 2009, I remember when we were chasing 1080p, but like, why would anyone be making a 1080p card in 2025? I understand if they were like, yeah, we marketed this card for 1440p, but realistically, I've played some games in 1080p on my, I played some games on my 4080 Super that on 1080p settings, when I was just testing path tracing, because it can be a handful, I needed 9GB of VRAM in some of my games. And there is a set, and a lot of people say that there's no such thing as a bad GPU, just bad prices. And I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, because of the name, this is a bad GPU. If they wanted to, and because of the price, if they wanted to release this as a different card called the 50 Trash 50 8GB Ti, again the 50 Trash 60 8GB Ti for $200, I would say this GPU is great. But another thing, this card is going to suck if you're trying to play future games, because remember, we don't just buy GPUs so we can play old crusty games of the past. I mean I do, but a lot of people who are buying this GPU, they don't, okay? So we have to, again, spread awareness of this card. I remember back about 4 months ago, we got some leaks about this being an 8GB card. I didn't want to believe there would be 8GB models still. But unfortunately, that's just where we are. We're still releasing these terrible, crappy cards, and there's not really much it seems like we can do about it. A lot of people are like, I'm shocked that they released this, but with Nvidia, I'm not shocked at all. We're going to get a 6080. I mean, not a 6080. I hope not. Anyway, we're going to get a 60 Trash 60 GPU if they're not replaced by APUs by then. They might be. Who knows? 8GB, now that wouldn't surprise me at all. But if they bring back the 50 class cards, I think that would justify all this, and they can put those in pre-builds everywhere. But again, this GPU has just turned into another trash card. I believe that the last good 60 class cards were with the 30 series, and so there you have it. The 50 Trash 60 has just been abysmal, and it truly is a GPU, and I'm just ashamed that it exists. I would still recommend this card over a Xbox Series X, mainly because if you could find it at a good price. I think some pre-builds were better, but like, I mean, but I don't know. I honestly can't. I can't recommend this card to anyone. Oh, and another thing, yeah, I mean, I guess that's really all I can say about this. It's just sad, guys. It's just sad. So unfortunately, it's too late to send this card to Jensen's Island. It's too late. It missed its opportunity to unlaunch itself at Jensen's Island, but it's not too late for it to be canceled. They've canceled before, and they can cancel again. Hopefully this card gets canceled so people don't accidentally buy it, especially casual gamers who don't know. Obviously, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys aren't casual gamers. You guys all know these things. But again, don't let your friends buy this. Let your enemies buy it, and only your enemies. And with that being said, the Finny games are over for today. Do not buy a 50 Trash 60 8GB model, even if you're desperate. Thank you.